producers in his ear being like, I expected more out of her. Did you sanitize this? Like, this is more extreme than COVID. I don't want to be touching your vibrator. God works hard, but Bachelor producers work much harder. What a season premiere we just had of The Bachelor season 25 with Matt James. It was so good. And that promo for next week's episode and this upcoming season was so insane. But before we get into that, we have to just touch on tonight's intro episode. We had Matt James meeting 32 amazing women. We're gonna dive into each and every one of their intros. I'm your host, Jess Lucero, and this is Bachelor Bracket. Just to give you an idea of what Bachelor Bracket is, we are going to go through every single week and fill out a bracket talking about who our favorites are, who our least favorites are. You're going to be able to fill out a bracket with us. Follow along. Tell me if you think I'm completely wrong just based on all of these promos. And if you've ever watched The Bachelor, you know it's going to be filled with so much drama. And this is what keeps us tuning back in every single week. We live for the drama. We had Matt James, who's never been on any season of The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise. He's never been on a single Bachelor franchise show. And here he comes meeting 32 women, not exactly knowing what he's getting himself into, but he handled it so well. I cannot wait to watch the rest of the season just because I feel like he is going to keep everything so raw, so real. He let all of the girls know that he was just as nervous as they were. That is what really made it so amazing to watch. One thing I really loved about Matt is he brought up some deep topics. Like, he brought up how he doesn't want America to look at him and say that he should be with a certain race or get mad at him if he doesn't choose to be with that certain kind of race. Like, this is his love journey, and he is going to be with whoever he wants to be with. Was honest and open with America, even though he said that that is something that he struggles with. I think he did a really good job. Let's get into some of my favorite limo entrances because there were a lot more than Claire Crowley's season. We got a little more creative this time around. One that stood out the most was Kit's entrance. She came out and there was so much confidence around her. She gave him a way to remember her name. She spelled it out.
KIT stands for keep in touch. Yes. And I would love if you would find me inside.
An easy way for him to remember her name. She handled herself very well even when she wasn't vibing with some of the girls. So I stand by my decision. I think she is going to make it very far. I 100% do not see her winning it all, winning Matt James' heart, winning that diamond ring by Neil Lane at the very end of this. But I see her getting a very successful social media career out of this, I will say that. One of my absolute front runners is Kayla. I knew right off the bat she was going to do something relating to North Carolina because she and Matt are both from North Carolina, so it only makes sense. And she comes out with a pickup truck and she ends up having a whole picnic for him with some sweet tea. Everything she did was amazing. I expected Sandy to come out with a much bigger bang. If she was going to come out with goats on her feet, calling herself the goat, I expected more out of her, but it could just be the way the producers edited the show. You didn't really see her. She could be someone who has sort of a comeback story where you didn't see too much of her in the beginning, but she ends up really taking Matt's heart away. She has such an outgoing personality from all the promos that I've seen, from her Instagram when I've checked it out. She just seems to be someone that really anybody could get along with, so I'm excited to get to know her a little bit more. I do wish we got to see a little bit more of her in tonight's episode, but it's okay.
What? Wait, what is it?
Kylie's entrance was so genius. She's someone who's confident in her body. She doesn't mind walking around in lingerie, so you might as well flaunt it. She came out and said, you know what, pick my dress for me and I'm gonna rock my body until you pick out my outfit. And that she did. I was shocked that none of the girls really hated that about her. The girls hated Alana or Lena for kissing Matt with a freaking spaghetti noodle in between the two of them, but didn't get mad at Kylie for coming out in lingerie. I don't even know what these girls get mad at anymore, apparently. I can't figure it out. We obviously can't talk about tonight's episode without talking about Abigail, who received the first impression rose. You just knew she was going to make a dent in Matt James' heart because she is so pure, and she came right out and said, you know what, yes, I am deaf. I was born this way, and without my implants, I can't hear a thing, but that's not gonna stop me. And that's exactly how she handled herself with Matt. She was very confident but very sweet. And with the two of them, you could feel the nerves, but it felt like when you go on a date and you're just nervous to meet that person. I genuinely see her being a final two contestant. When she eventually makes it to hometowns, I know her sister is going to grill Matt. I'm looking so forward to it.
All right. So what do you think of my balls?
That thing was massive. First of all, there was only one ball and it was this big. It filled up his entire mouth. You need some sauce on there. You can't just eat a plain meatball. Like, do people do that? No, you need sauce on there. Do something. This is where we start to get into some of the not so good intros. The ones where they can just hop right back in that little skedaddle out of here. Starting off with the queen herself, Victoria. I get it, you're not there to make friends, you are here to find love, but did you really think that that was going to be how you found love?
Oh man.
What you came here for was to probably find a social media manager and get those numbers up, get that bread, get the hit, then leave. That's the mentality that she had, because that crown pissed everyone off the second she got there. But you also knew that he had to keep her around. It's fine, like the producers in his ear being like, yep, we're gonna wait on Victoria or last rose. Yeah, now you can go Victoria. For sure, we gotta keep her around. It's like you knew she was going to be the very first one to cause all the drama, and that she did. Now this intro wasn't terrible, but I didn't love it. Piper's last name is James. You can see that on ABC's website. It says Piper James right there, and the second I saw that, I thought, I could not marry someone with the same last name as me. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of people who have done that. Don't you have something go off in your mind that's like, what? Could be related. We could be related. That ain't right. She said, my dad always wanted my sisters and I to keep our last name, so this works out. Whatever she said. I think he meant it in a different way. I think he just meant like, don't change your last name when you marry someone. Not like marry someone with the same last name as you. It's kind of weird. For that reason, absolutely no way that's who he ends up with, who she ends up with. No, it's gonna be a no for me. We can't talk about tonight's entrances without talking about Katie. I think the vibrator worked as far as it got Matt's attention. I don't know if he entirely liked it. He acted like he did. There might have just been him trying to be nice. Also, I would not have touched that thing. Like, he straight up grabbed it. Did you sanitize this? Like, this is more extreme than COVID. I don't want to be touching your vibrator. No, thank you, Katie. But she was pissing everyone off left and right because she was touching them with it. She was tapping their shoulders. She was whipping it around at all times. Like, we gotta get into our segment called It's the Drama for Me, because every single episode of The Bachelor and Bachelorette would not be complete without some drama. I definitely thought, just based on reading these contestants' bios and looking at their photos, I thought it would be down to Victoria and Kylie, who would be the two that could potentially stir some things up. I didn't see Katie being one of them. We'll knock Kylie out of there. She doesn't seem to have too much drama in her. It's primarily Victoria and Katie who are the two girls who don't really care what anyone else thinks. It's all about them. They're gonna do whatever they gotta do to stand out. More power to them, but listen, I would have been so annoyed if she's telling me, market yourself to Matt. Go talk to him. Why aren't you talking to him? Go talk to him. Like, that is that one girl in high school that picks on everybody that's like, oh my god, why do you look like that? Oh my god, what are you doing? Like, I got PTSD. It was coming back out of me. I'm going to get into my top 8. I would normally have a graphic for everyone, but we're working on that, don't worry. So for now, we're going to show our top 8, and you're gonna let me know if you agree with me or if you think I am missing some major people that need to be in here, okay? We got Kayla. She reminds him of home. We gotta keep her out there. She's gorgeous nonetheless. We've got Abigail. First impression Rose, she's so real, she's so honest. She brings out a really genuine side of Matt, and I think she's 100% going to make it so far. Up next, we got Rachel. We didn't get to know too much about her, but the way They bonded over being kind of awkward and not the best at opening up. I think I see her also making it far. She might potentially get booted off at one point because she couldn't open up, but I'm hoping that he can help her and teach her his ways and teach her how to open up. Number 4 is Sarah. I definitely see Sarah making it very far. The way she holds herself is so confident. She has an incredible story that we heard a little bit about, so I know once she brings that up to Matt that he will fall head over heels for her. He's someone who loves to help people. While it might be inner city kids, I think he will love to hear the ways that Sarah has helped out her own dad, so I think they'll really connect on that. Up next is Bri, and like I mentioned, when she and Matt spoke, it was just a breath of fresh air. I loved their chemistry. I think they flowed very easily, so I'm definitely going to throw her up there. Like I said, she threw me off. She surprised me. I didn't expect so much out of her, so I really liked what we were able to see from her tonight. Serena P is next, and she's someone who strikes me as being someone very comfortable for Matt. She almost seems very wifey material, for lack of a better term. I do feel like she's just very down to earth, she's very genuine, and those seem to be the type of girls that he clicks with the best. 7, we have Sonia. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I butchered it when I tried pronouncing it before this season premiere. Her personality is so fun. I think she's going to bring the fun side out of Matt, and that's going to be someone that he really enjoys because he's able to let loose and it's not always such a serious conversation, but I am intrigued to see how she's able to also be serious. 8th and final girl out of my top 8 is Kit. The way she holds herself, especially for being a 21-year-old, is insane. She seems to be an old soul to me, someone who holds herself very well, someone who is very confident, someone who knows what she wants and she's not going to back down. She looked at Victoria, she said, "You're the queen, well I'm the CEO, the president, the king." She's very quick and witty. I do see them getting along, but like I said, I don't see her going all the way. Now that we've gotten everything else out of the way, we have to talk about the promo for the rest of the season. Why is Heather here? Excuse me, she had her chance on Colton season, and then there's these other 2, 3, 1, however many girls, it doesn't even matter at this point. If I was one of the original 32 girls and I got knocked off and then one of these new girls came on, I would be livid. God works hard, but Bachelor producers work much harder. Always remember that. I don't see Heather and Matt clicking on the level that he has clicked with all these other girls. I need to figure out who this other girl is that pops up. I think there was at least 2 more girls that popped up. So I need names. I just need to know what's going down, okay? That's gonna do it for tonight's episode of Bachelor Bracket. This was the season premiere. It's been so much fun talking about not only tonight's episode, but some predictions, to talk about my top 8, to talk about Matt James and what a great job he did in his very first episode being a part of the Bachelor franchise and being the Bachelor. He did an incredible job. You can follow us at all of our socials listed down below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure to tune in next week. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with my top 8? Do you think I'm missing some major people? Let me know. Once again, I'm your host, Jess Lucero, and we'll see you guys next week.